wants to be king!
Before I start the video today, I want to give a very special thank you to all of my subs here and wish you guys a happy new year. What I want to talk about today now is the situation that's going on with Andrew Tate. Everyone seems to want to get in on this and repeat facts that are already very well publicly known. And I think that it's kind of cheesy because nobody really knows anything at this point. I think it's pretty safe to say that in the culture that we live in, the world that we live in, it really doesn't matter if you're innocent or guilty of something. When the powers that have sunk their talons into Mr. Tate, when they decide to move on you, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You know, he's spoken about this in detail, and a lot of people think that it's just goofy talk, but there's a lot of real substance to the things that he says, because the system is not what we think it is. It's not what we're told. It's not what we're supposed to believe. And the way that they use this arm of the propaganda machine to influence the way people think and feel, couple that with the fact that today people are so stupid that they just follow whatever carrot is thrown out in front of them. It's not surprising at all that this is happening. Personally, I don't believe it at all. I don't believe that these guys are, I don't think that they're that stupid. And what's going to happen is going to happen. But I don't believe for 1 second that what's going to happen is going to equal the truth. I think that this guy has put himself in a position that he has angered a lot of people, and he's waking up a population to the reality of their world that a lot of work has gone in to suppress. The male population has been on attack for decades, and it's been ramped up exponentially. A lot of boys are lost. A lot of young men are living lives of quiet desperation. And his underlying base message is very beneficial. It's the same thing that I say. It's the same thing that Jocko says, the same thing that David Goggins says. Take ownership for your life. Stop being a bitch about stuff and embrace the suck. Grow as a man. And that's his basic message. But all of the other things that he's done, all the other flashing of lights and bringing attention to himself, in my opinion, I think it's ridiculous. He's done a lot of this to himself. That's the purpose of this video. It's not to rehash everything that everybody thinks that they know. There are some very clear lessons that can be learned through dealing with this Andrew Tate situation. And that's what I want to show these young men and those that look up to him, listen to what he says. There's certain rules and regulations when you're a hustler that you have to adhere to. Now, everybody knows how he and his brother made his money with the cam before the OnlyFans thing started going off. They were in the game early. Now, this is the thing. This is one of the first points that I want to shine a light on. When I was a young man going through the just say no era of America, my grandmother was very devout Christian, and she used to tell us things as we would go out into the world, and at the time it seemed ridiculous. It seemed silly. She was always quoting from the Bible and telling us things, just trying to build our armor. And one of the things that she used to say all the time was, bad associations spoil useful habits, or soil useful habits. It was whatever she was feeling at the time. She would give us a version of that. And basically what she was telling us is, when you hang around with people that are doing bad things, they're going to spoil the useful habits that you have. Now, in the context of dealing with this Tate situation, I think this right here can be agreed upon by all parts. Whenever you are in the business of making videos, webcam videos, and doing the things that these guys have admittedly made their money doing, whenever you're running in those circles and whenever you reach a certain financial level, the people that you're going to deal with, those people are shady. The people that are in the cam business, the people that are in the prawn business, all of these people that are involved in this, these are not wholesome, upstanding people, and a lot of these people are outright criminals. I think that maybe a big part of this, maybe the biggest part of this, isn't so much of what Andrew and Tristan have done, but the other people that were involved in this sweep that are not mentioned right now. They don't need to destroy those men's. They don't need to destroy their platform, their structure. They're not talking about who these people are. They've just got this wide net of suspicion, and I think that perhaps if this is a real situation, if there truly was somebody that isn't lying, isn't trying to take advantage of the situation, if that's the real, I don't think necessarily that it was the brothers who did that, and I don't think that necessarily it has to be those guys. Whenever you're involved in the hustle game, whenever you're running in those circles, that Andrew he's admittedly, he said that he knows gangsters, he knows mafia type dudes, he knows these kinds of people. He's involved in the casino business. These aren't wholesome people. These aren't your stand-up citizens that walk within the lines of the law. And he's admitted all of these things. And so when you look at the totality of the alleged charges and couple that with the things that he said, it's not hard to see that some of his associations may have played a role in the things that are happening in his life right now. So the first lesson here is be very, very conscious and cautious of who you surround yourself with. You could be trying to come up in the game, trying to get the bag, trying to emulate what Mr. Tate's done. Whenever you're doing these things, to come up quick, every time you get it quick, you're going to lose it quick. That's the way it goes. Easy come, easy go. You get money fast, you get money dirty. You're always going to run up into an obstacle that takes that money from you. Be it somebody jacking you, or you having to spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, or in Andrew's case, maybe millions of dollars trying to get yourself out of a situation that you got yourself into to acquire the money. So be very cautious about who you surround yourself with. You'd be very smart to know who you're dealing with, know what their history is, know what they're involved in. Because just being associated with people that are doing dirt puts you on a list. If they're watching them and they come and kick it with you, they're watching you. You get caught up in somebody's web, and this type of stuff that's happening to Andrew and Tristan can happen to anybody on any level when you're hustling, when you're playing the game, when you're trying to get it, and when you're trying to get it quick. Another rule and regulation of the game is you keep your fucking mouth shut. One of the things that I've always tripped about in watching Andrew Tate, when I listen to him talk and watch him posture himself and put himself on this pedestal the way he has, no hate, but the way that I grew up is when you're getting it like that, when you got it like that, you keep your mouth shut. You keep your mouth shut and you keep the lights off. You don't shine a light on your stuff. You don't flash and you don't shine like that because people are watching you. And a lot of people that do this, they want people to watch them. They want this attention. They need it for whatever it is in their soul. They need to show off the things, to brag about the things, to be boisterous, to be loud, to talk shit. And one of the things that every time I watch it, when the dude talks about, bribing off officials and buying his way out of trouble and doing all that, cool, man. Cool that you know that, cool that you live there, cool that you have the ability to do all of that's cool, man. But talking about it on social media, getting on social media and bragging and swinging your nuts and rubbing them across the forehead of all the very same powers that you're telling people to watch out for, and these dudes got power and they can do this, that, and the other. When you know the way the game is played, then you dump gasoline on yourself and start striking matches, you're inevitably going to run into the situation that he's in right now. Whenever you're doing it, whenever you're getting it, no matter how you choose to get it, it'd be it would be in your best interest to keep a low profile. Keep a low profile, keep your head down, keep the lights off, and don't run around flashing and shining in front of people. Because what's going to happen if you get it in nefariously, if you get it in any sort of way that can be frowned upon, there are going to be people that inevitably, when you're pouring gasoline on yourself, they're going to throw a match on you. You're going to at a minimum, you're going to get burned a little bit. I've seen this happen too many times in life. I got a really close personal friend back in my hustling days that he was so insecure, so broken on the inside that everything that made him feel good was external. And so the very net that he got himself caught in, he wove it by his own hands. You know, when you go and you know you're doing dirt, you know you're doing wrong, and you put yourself in front of the folks that are looking for those that are doing that, when you do that, you're gonna get in an ugly situation. But if and when you find yourself in a situation where you got business, it's best to keep your mouth shut. It's best to keep your mouth shut. You don't need to brag. You don't need to boast. You don't need to shine, especially on social media. You don't need to tell everybody your business so people applaud you like seals. Just be that man. They can see your watch. They can see the car if you choose to make the video in there. But my question is, why is it so important to shine and show off to people? Like that, to me, that's making noise that doesn't need to be made. And I think on some level, there's an emptiness that's fulfilled by the people who do this. If that's the way you roll, that's the way you move, that's cool, man. Do what you want to do. But what my point is when you look for accolades and acceptance and validation from the external world, and you show up in a way that makes people throw confetti at you and celebrate your greatness, your riches, your ballerness. When you want to be the top G, one of the rules and regulations to being that man is keep your mouth shut about business. Keep your mouth shut about connections. Keep your mouth shut about things that don't need to be talked about. You know, when I watch the situation go down, it's very similar to what happened with John Gotti. When he became the head of the family, John Gotti had this narcissistic need to shine, to be loud, to boast, to tease very law enforcement. Thought he was Mr. Untouchable. And when he finally ran out of chain, that was it. It was a wrap. And most of the things, if not all of the things that happened to that family and to him himself could have been averted, could have been avoided had he just kept his fucking mouth shut and allowed the hustle to speak for itself. But one of the biggest things that I want to teach men that are watching this situation is you got to be very, very careful about the women that you allow in your world, in your sphere. From where I stand, it seems like there's some people that have been involved in this whole business organization, this whatever it is that we're watching here, that didn't really like the way things played out. Now, if this is something that is legit, if this is something that is real, if these alleged charges, if these things turn out to be true, then by all means, the full punishment of the law should rain down on the people who are involved in this. That accusation is disgusting. That whole thing is disgusting. But one of the things that I've come to know in life is a lot of times people will put themselves in positions. They'll get themselves into a situation where at the moment they feel like they're winning. At the moment they think that this is the right thing to do. I'm having fun, whatever it is. And then when guilt sets in, when their conscience starts speaking to them, or the party that they thought they were going to doesn't turn out to be what they thought it was, then all of a sudden they want revenge. They want somebody to pay for the way that they feel. And they start throwing stones. The society says, you have to believe her because they're pure, they're innocent. And there's never any accountability for the other side for the choices that they put themselves, the positions that they put themselves in, the choices that they make. Right now in our culture, we've got a lot of Delilahs, a lot of evil women that only want to find out what a man's weakness is, what makes you strong, so she can take it away from you. You need to be very, very careful about the circle that you run in, the shit that you let come out of your mouth, the things that you tell about and on yourself, and the people that you allow to come in, people that are on the coattails of your greatness. I think a lot of times what we see, and maybe what we're seeing here, is some girls that went to have a good time, and then when they realized that they weren't special, that they were just what they are, they want some retaliation, they want revenge, or they're just found some puppets they're being used to take these men down. No matter what the circumstance is, if this is bullshit, if these guys are being accused of things that they didn't do, if these people are standing on that side of the law and are willing to toe that line to see that these guys are punished, that alone should tell you where we are and what you need to do as a man if and when you reach a level of status where you've got women coming after you trying to attach themselves to you. There are a lot of very, very clear lessons that can be learned in watching this whole thing go down. And for Andrew's sake, for Tristan's sake, for the sake of all of the people involved, I hope that this is all bullshit. And I also hope that the people that are involved in the BS, I hope that they're held accountable if and when it's found out that they're playing some line like that. One of the things that I want to say in closing is this: the outrage, the flashing of the light on what these guys allegedly have done, even if there is a modicum of truth to it, it's hypocritical that our leaders are going after this man for allegedly doing these things when we know damn good and well that there's a list of people that Miss Maxwell and Jeffrey could have and did expose that nobody's saying anything about. There's levels of this type of stuff that's happening every day on the border of my state, border of California. This is happening all the time, but we're supposed to believe that these people care about this, that it's important. See, the reason why it's important now is because Andrew Tate, aside from all of his narcissistic bullshit, he is waking up the youth, the men that the system uses to fight their fights and to impose their will. That is the biggest thing that he's done wrong, which is also the thing that I believe that he's done right. See, the problem here now is we're at an intersection of how this whole thing works. First, they tried to shut him up, and he refused to let that happen. Now they locked him up. The next step is to Epstein him. If that happens, I think it will be a gross miscalculation for the people who are pulling his string. If that happens, they'll make a martyr out of that man. And the people that he's spoken to, the people that have listened to his voice, they will become a problem for the system. Because in doing that, in doing what they've done to him already, they've already proven everything that he said about the matrix, about the system, and about the power and the length of the arm of those who will snatch your ass up if and when you get out of the lines. They've already proven that to be true. So now they're at a crossroad. Either this is going to be found out to be bullshit, which galvanizes his point, or it'll turn out to be true. And in that case, they need to continue going with this momentum of stamping this out and release the names that are on that list. Release the names of the people who have gone to that island and have done the very same thing to minors. In closing, I want you guys to remember the rules and regulations that I've laid down for you here in this video about how to be a real top G. Watch who you surround yourself with. Watch your mouth. Watch your back. Out.